The 3 videos before this one in the playlist have looked at file access modes. We've started off by looking at this one here, where we open this file for reading, so we transfer the contents from the file to the Python program. We've also considered this, where we open this file for writing to, so we can transfer data to the file, and this one here, where we open this file for appending, which means when we write to the file, we append the data to the end of the file. The schematic diagram that's just come into view shows the general approach to accessing a file. We have the Python code, which uses the operating system, where the operating system has a relationship to the file, and we can simply set up a stream between the Python code and the file that we wish to access. And you can see resources will be set aside in the operating system, and this will hold the file descriptor, and the file descriptor will say how we can access the file. And obviously, if we use this, we're accessing the file for reading. So the resources here will reflect that in the file descriptor. If we use this, then the file descriptor will indicate that we're writing to the file. And if we use this, we're referring to the fact that we wish to append to the file, and that information will be part of these resources. And of course, once the resources are in place, there will be a stream between the Python code and the file as shown here. And the stream has got this name, my file, which you can see reflects all of the names that I've used here in the program statements. Let's consider the first program statement, and we can see that we're going to be opening this text file, and you can see on the schematic diagram I've represented this file here, and you can look at the name I've called it. I've called it the same name, mytextfile.txt. This tells us we're going to be opening the file for reading from, and of course what will happen is the operating system will set aside resources that I'm showing coming into place here, and these resources will have a file descriptor that indicates that we're going to have access to the file for reading it. Consequently, a stream will appear between the Python program and the text file as coming into place now. And this is going to be an object of a class, and it's going to have something pointing to it, i.e. the object reference, which is coming into view now, called my file. Now it's my file because if you look here in the code, you can see that's where I've used my file. So what this line has done, it's created this stream, these resources that say that the stream will allow data to move from the text file to the Python code. And I can show that as follows on the schematic diagram. There you can see a copy of the data leaving the text file and going into the Python code. Now, of course, this line did not read the file. It set the file up for read access. So the file was open in the read mode because of this here. So let's move on to look at the next program statement. So this program statement will open this file so we can write to it, and you can see it's assigned to here, which means that my file will be an object reference to the stream. So if we look to the schematic diagram, what will happen is this. The operating system will contain resources, and these resources will, for example, hold the file descriptor that will indicate that the stream to be produced will be produced for writing data from the program code to the file. And we can see the stream appearing here. And this stream will have this name, my file, because that's what I used here in the computer program. And of course, this is the object reference to the stream, where the stream is indeed an instance of a class. In other words, an object. Now, it's important to realize that the program statement you're looking at has simply created the stream to allow data to move from the Python code to the file. It doesn't do the actual moving of the data. Another program statement that follows this will be responsible for that. And indeed, when that program statement executes, if you look to the schematic diagram, what you're going to see is that a copy of the data will be moved from the program file to the text file where the data will be stored. Let's now move on to look at the other program statement, which is responsible for creating a stream that will allow data to go from the Python code to the text file, where it will be appended at the end of that file. So this statement will open this file in the append mode, and consequently the operating system will have resources set aside, and these resources, for example, will contain a file descriptor, and that file descriptor will contain all the necessary information to allow the program to know that the stream that's going to be created will allow data to be passed from the Python code to the text file and placed at the end of that text file. So we can see the stream coming into view now, and this stream will have the name my file simply because that's what I used in the program here. And of course, my file is the object reference to the stream, where the stream is an instance of a class, in other words, an object. It is important to note that the program statement you are looking at is not responsible for sending the data from the Python code to be appended to the file. It is responsible for creating the appropriate stream. A later program statement will be responsible for sending a copy of the data in the Python code to the file, and this can be shown in the schematic diagram as shown here, where the data is passed to be appended to the file. And we indeed looked at how that can be achieved in the previous video of this playlist. So let's move on and look to the first program statement we looked at in this video. And you can see here that I'm using R in quotes. It's a single character string. And this will open a file for reading, which is the default mode when you're dealing with files. The assumption is if you're going to open and you don't put a file mode here, it will be read. You'll also note that it says the file must exist. If you're going to read from a file, that file must be there to be read from. Now, a question is, what will happen if it's not there? Well, I'll be covering that in due course. But to emphasize what the default mode is, you can look to this here. You can see in this area that I've not specified the mode, in which case it will open for reading. However, which of these two statements should you use within your code? My recommendation is to use the one above, where you do include the R. It makes the code easier to read when you're reviewing your own code or somebody else's. But both of these program statements will open a file for reading. It'll create a stream that allows data to be sent from the program code to the text file. Let's move on and look at this program statement. Now here you can see we're using lowercase w in quotes. Now this will open a file for writing. If the file exists, it truncates the file to 0 length, meaning all the existing content is deleted. If the file does not exist, it creates a new one. So be careful when opening a file for writing. If you open a file by accident that already exists and it contains important information, when you open it using this statement, the contents of that file will be lost. You will get a new file with the same name with nothing in. Let's move on and look at the next program statement. And here you can see we're using a lowercase a in quotes. Now this opens a file for appending. If the file exists, data is added to the end of the file. If the file does not exist, it creates a new one. Let's summarize all of this in a table. Here you can see we have a column showing the mode, and this column shows a description of each of the modes. If we look at the first one, where this is R, this will open a file for reading. The file must exist. If the file does not exist, what will we do? Well, I'll cover that in the videos coming up. If you use this mode, it'll open a file for writing. If the file exists, it truncates the file to 0 length, meaning all existing content is deleted. If the file does not exist, it creates a new one. Now you need to concern yourself with this description here and compare it carefully with when we use this append mode. This will open a file for appending. If the file exists, data is added to the end of the file. If the file does not exist, it creates a new one. So when you use these, the W and the A, you're writing to the file. But if you use the W, you can risk losing the file contents of a file that already exists. When you use this, you still write to the file, but you will not lose the contents if the file already exists. It means you can write and you will append to the end of the file, keeping what was there before. So there is a subtle difference between these two. So you need to bear that in mind when you're thinking about these modes. Now, in this video and the previous 3 in the playlist, I've covered the R, W, and A modes, the read, the write, and the append mode. And these are for text files. Now, what if you were wanting to read, write, and append to a binary file? Well, there are different modes for doing that, and I'll explain the difference between a text and a binary file later in the playlist. But this R can be followed by a B, this W can be followed by a B, and this A can be followed by a B. And there we are dealing with the modes for when we access binary files. But there is other modes as well. R can be followed by a plus sign, W can be followed by a plus sign, and the A can be followed by a plus sign. And I'll treat each of these in turn in later videos. But what I'd like to do now is we'll stick with these 3 until we get a handle on file handling. Because what I want to do is to look at this here. When it says open a file for reading, the file must exist. So what if the file doesn't exist and you're attempting to create a stream between your Python code and the text file that you wish to read from? Well, the program will crash. Can we afford to allow that to happen as programmers? And the answer is no. What we have to do is avoid a program crashing. So we can look at ways of coping when the file that must exist doesn't exist. How can we resolve that possible problem? By ensuring that as a programmer, we recover from that gracefully and don't allow the program to simply report that it's crashed.